They told you the music was real. They told you the artists were happy. They told you success meant money. They told you that if you were talented enough, if you worked hard enough, the industry would take care of you. They lied. And the thing is, we believed it every single time because the music was so beautiful. It never occurred to us to look at what was happening behind it. That ends today. 10 biggest lies ever told in R&B. Let's count them down. Number 10, New Edition / the $1.87 lie. Picture 5 teenage boys from the Roxbury Projects in Boston. 1983. They just recorded a debut single that knocked Michael Jackson off the top of the R&B charts. Not a regional hit, not a college radio record. A #1 song that beat Beat It and Billie Jean on the Billboard Black Singles chart for 18 straight weeks. And then they hit the road, clubs, skating rinks, opening for Rick James on a 4-month national tour, performing in front of thousands of people every night. Then they came home and their first royalty check arrived. 5 boys, 1 check for all of it. All those chart weeks, all those clubs, all those miles on the road. You want to know what it said? $1.87 each, not split between them. $1.87 a piece. Bobby Brown, Ralph Tresvant, Ricky Bell, Michael Bivins, Ronnie DeVoe, 5 kids from the projects who had just outperformed some of the biggest names in music, went home with $1.87. And here's the part that still gets me. Somebody at Streetwise Records wrote that check, counted the numbers, saw the chart positions, saw the tour receipts, and still printed that amount. That wasn't an error. That was a policy. That was the first lesson the music industry ever taught. New Edition. We believe in you. That's what the label said at the door. The royalty check told a different story entirely. And if you've ever wondered how someone could give everything they have to something and still walk away with almost nothing, ask yourself if the contract was ever really written in their favor. They left Streetwise, found a new label, and built one of the most influential legacies in R&B history. But that $1.87, that was the beginning of the education. Number 9, Marvin Gaye's The Worst Thing I Ever Heard. I need you to sit with this for a second. Rolling Stone has ranked What's Going On by Marvin Gaye as the 4th greatest song in the history of recorded music. Not just soul music, not just R&B, all of it. A song that's in the Library of Congress, in the Grammy Hall of Fame, on more than 40 different critics' lists of the greatest records ever made. Barry Gordy looked Marvin Gaye in the eye and called it the worst thing he'd ever heard in his life. In 1970, Marvin brought the song to the head of Motown. He was devastated. His duet partner, Tammy Terrell, had just died from a brain tumor. His brother had come back from Vietnam broken, and he needed to put something real into the world. Gordy turned him down flat. Marvin, don't be ridiculous. That's taking things too far. Even Motown's internal review board gave it a thumbs down. Only Stevie Wonder defended it. Gaye refused to record another note until it was released. The label was in a standoff with one of its biggest stars. Then something remarkable happened. Behind Gordy's back, completely without his knowledge, a Motown executive named Harry Balk pressed 100,000 copies and quietly shipped them to radio stations. The entire run sold out inside a week. The fastest moving single in Motown history. Gordy found out when the reorder requests started flooding in. Eventually, Berry Gordy went on the record and called "What's Going On," and I want you to hear this. Probably the greatest piece of work Motown ever put out. The same man, one song, months apart. And if you've ever had someone in a position of power tell you your best work wasn't good enough, and then watch that same person later claim they always believed in it, you already know how Marvin felt. Real talk, only 9% of you are subscribed. That hurts. We're spending hours digging through archives, fact-checking every detail, bringing these stories back to life. And if you're watching this far, you clearly care. So hit subscribe. It's free and takes 2 seconds. Now, to my subscribers, barely any of you have joined the membership. And honestly, that stings even more. You know the work we put in. You keep coming back. If these videos have ever made you feel something, if this music means something to you, join the membership. It's $1 coffee a month, and it's the only way we keep this going. Let's build this together. All right, back to it. Number 8, TLC's Bankrupt at the peak. July 1995. CrazySexyCool has sold 14 million copies. T-Boz, Chili, and Left Eye have won 2 Grammys. They are the biggest girl group on the planet. The only female group in history to have a diamond certified album. Every radio station, every house party, every slow dance, every BT video, they are everywhere. Anyone is listening, and they are broke. Let me give you something to think about. Inundate your mind when intentions will turn you up. On July 3rd, 1995, less than a year after CrazySexyCool dropped, TLC filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. $3.5 million in debt. Each member was taking home less than $50,000 a year for having the #1 album in the country. Here's how the system worked. Their label, their management, and their production company were all under the same corporate umbrella. So the more the album sold, the more expenses got charged against their earnings. Success and debt moved in the same direction. You know what that is? That's a trap. The kind you don't see until the walls are already closing. Their contract allowed them 56 cents per album sold, split 3 ways. At the 1996 Grammy Awards, after winning Best R&B Album, Chili stepped to that mic and said, "We've sold 10 million albums worldwide. We're as broke can be." In front of everyone, national television, because at some point, what was left to protect? Left Eye added, "I hope we go down in history for being something more than just another famous act that got ripped off." She said that at the Grammys, and the contracts didn't change much after that. Some of y'all just nodded. You know exactly what kind of system makes that possible. Number 7, Florence Ballard's The Name on the Marquee. Diana Ross and the Supremes, stop right there, because that name, that and, is where the lie begins. Florence Ballard founded the group. She named it. She chose the word Supremes from a list and fought to keep it. She recruited Mary Wilson. And Mary Wilson brought in a neighborhood girl named Diane Ross. Florence built the house and then watched someone else's name go above the door. From 1964 to 1967, Florence Ballard sang on 10 consecutive #1 pop hits. 10. During those years, the Supremes outsold every recording group in the world except the Beatles. Marvin Gaye once said she was probably the strongest of the three girls. Honestly, I'd argue Florence Ballard was the soul the Supremes were built on, but I know not everyone sees it that way. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Gordy, who was secretly dating Diana Ross, had already decided Florence was the problem. He fat-shamed her in rehearsals, picked at her publicly, was quietly replacing her with a stand-in before she even knew her time was ending. On July 1st, 1967, the day after her 24th birthday, she arrived backstage at the Flamingo Hotel in Las Vegas. Gordy grabbed her arm. "If you go on stage," he told her, "I'll throw you off." She didn't go on. Motown offered her a settlement, $15,000, and a clause saying she could never publicly claim she was ever a Supreme. She signed it without a lawyer in the room. Her solo album was shelved. Her savings disappeared. Her attorney was embezzling her. By 1975, Florence Ballard, the woman who chose the name, built the sound, and sang on 10 #1s, was on welfare with her 3 daughters in Detroit. She died in 1976. She was 32 years old, and Diana Ross and the Supremes played on. Number 6, Milli Vanilli's Not One Note. Think about where you were when Girl You Know It's True was everywhere. Summer '89 into '90, the clubs, the radio, the TV, 2 guys, Fab Morvan and Rob Pilatus, with the braids, the look, the dancing. They won 3 American Music Awards. They won the Grammy for Best New Artist, beating out acts who had actually sung on their records. There was only one problem. Not one note on the record was theirs. The real voices belonged to studio singers Charles Shaw, John Davis, and Brad Howell, 3 experienced vocalists who recorded everything. Fab and Rob were hired by German producer Frank Farian specifically to be the image. They could dance, they looked the part, and Farian figured nobody would find out. During a live MTV event in Bristol, Connecticut, the pre-recorded track got stuck, just looping the same phrase over and over while both of them kept lip-syncing, confused, then fled the stage. It was caught on camera, and somehow, still, it didn't end them. They won the Grammy in February 1990. By November, it was over. Farian called a press conference. The truth was out. The Grammy was revoked 9 days later, the only time in Grammy history that has ever happened. Their catalog was deleted, a settlement was approved to refund an estimated 10 million buyers, and Rob Pilatus died alone in a Frankfurt hotel room in 1998. The real singers, Shaw, Davis, Howell, received almost nothing from the years their voices built that empire. Because the lie didn't just fool the public, it swallowed everyone inside it. Want to know the strangest part? The man behind all of it, Frank Farian, had done the exact same thing with his 1970s group Boney M. He'd kept that secret for 25 years. Number 5, Bobby Brown's The Narrative They Needed. You probably know this story. Whitney Houston, the greatest voice of her generation, marries Bobby Brown, the bad boy from New Edition. And then everything falls apart. The tabloids write the same story for 15 years. Bobby is the reason Whitney is struggling. Bobby brought the drugs. Bobby brought the chaos. Bobby was the one. The industry needed that story to be true because the alternative was much more complicated. Here's what actually happened. Robin Crawford, Whitney's closest friend for 20 years, wrote in her memoir that Bobby Brown did not introduce Whitney Houston to cocaine, not even close. Whitney's brother Michael admitted in a 2013 interview that he was the one who introduced his sister to cocaine when she was a teenager, years before Bobby Brown entered the picture. Bobby Brown says that on their wedding day in 1992, it was Whitney who first offered him cocaine. He was in the bathroom, terrified, barely holding himself together. She came in, and that's when he realized what he'd walked into. The director of the 2018 Whitney Houston documentary put it plainly. The idea that Whitney was a great girl until Bobby came along is simply not true. But the narrative had already been set. The label needed a clean story for a complicated situation. The tabloids needed a villain they could print every week. And Bobby Brown, the bad boy, the one who looked the part, fit exactly what that story required. He carried that for 20 years, in public, without enough evidence to make anyone stop saying his name. And if you've ever been blamed for something that wasn't yours, watched a story get written about you while the truth sat in a room nobody wanted to enter, you know what that does to a person. Number 4. Destiny's Child's finding out on television in Houston, Texas. 4 girls, Beyonce Knowles, Kelly Rowland, Latavia Robertson, and LaToya Luckett. They've been singing together since they were kids. Through name changes, failed label meetings, years of rehearsals in Matthew Knowles' living room. They are Destiny's Child, and they trust each other. Or at least, that's what 2 of them believe. By the end of 1999, Latavia and LaToya had grown frustrated with how Matthew Knowles was managing the group's finances and their working conditions. They hired their own attorneys and sent a letter raising those concerns. They thought that started a conversation. What they didn't know was that the conversation was already over. I just heard the voice of someone else. Just this question, why? Because the music video for Say My Name, featuring Beyonce, Kelly, and 2 new members named Michelle Williams and Farrah Franklin, had already been filmed without them. I know y'all know the words. Sing it. Come on. Before anyone told them anything, Latavia Robertson later said she found out she'd been replaced when she saw the video on television. Not in a meeting, not from a manager, not from the people she'd built the group with, from the same screen everybody else was watching. Say my name, say my name. 2 founding members, gone via a cable channel. They filed a lawsuit against Matthew Knowles for mismanagement. The group they helped build went on to sell 60 million records. Hard to believe that you are at home by yourself. And the thing about this that stays with me, they didn't even get the conversation. Just a video, just the image of their replacements already in their spot, already in the styling, already smiling for the camera, like they were never there. If you've ever given everything you had to something and found out the door was already locked when you thought the meeting was still going, you understand what that silence costs.
Say my name. Say my name.
Number 3, Aaliyah, The Lie on the Certificate. Aaliyah Houghton is 15 years old. She's in the studio recording what will become her debut album, produced by a 27-year-old R. Kelly, who her uncle manages. The album drops in May. It's called Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, and for years the music industry heard that title, put it on the radio, pressed it onto CD, filed it in the pop section, and nobody asked the question it was hiding in plain sight. In August of 1994, Aaliyah and R. Kelly were secretly married in Rosemont, Illinois. Federal prosecutors later alleged that Kelly bribed an Illinois official with $500 to obtain a fraudulent ID listing Aaliyah's age as 18. On the marriage certificate, his birth year was correct. Hers was not. She was 15. The album title was on every shelf, playing in every store. Months before the marriage happened, adults heard it, radio programmers played it, the industry accepted it, and behind all of it, a teenager and a 27-year-old man were hidden inside a lie that was already in the title of her record. Her parents had the marriage annulled in early 1995. Court documents were sealed. Aaliyah rebuilt. She went on to become one of the most original artists R&B has ever produced. A voice, a vision, a presence that still doesn't have a real equal. She died in a plane crash in 2001. She was 22 years old. R. Kelly was convicted of federal sex trafficking and racketeering in 2021. He is in federal prison. And Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, a title hiding what the industry chose not to see, is still classified as a hit record. Some truths were written right on the cover. Number 1, Whitney Houston's Crack is Whack. Whitney Houston sits across from Diane Sawyer on ABC Primetime, one of the most watched celebrity interviews in television history. And Diane Sawyer asked her directly about drugs, about cocaine, about what people are saying.
Memories.
And Whitney Houston says the words that get repeated, clipped, played on every highlight reel, crack is whack. She says it with conviction. And the world clips it and laughs with it. And most people who quote that line have never stopped to ask, what was the state of the woman sitting in that chair? What was she carrying when she walked onto that set? Here is what the people closest to her have said since.
I'll think of you.
That by 2002, Whitney was in serious pain. That the machine around her, the label, the management, the image Clive Davis had spent decades building, had constructed a version of Whitney Houston.
Darling, I love you.
So pristine, so perfect, so essential to the business that acknowledging the truth publicly felt impossible. Not just for her, for everyone who had a stake in the product she represented. So the interview was shaped, the framing was controlled, the crack is whack moment became a quote, a gif, a punchline, and a woman who needed real help instead gave the world a soundbite that let everyone exhale. Whitney Houston died on February 11th, 2012. She was 48 years old. The coroner found cocaine in her system. She was discovered in a bathtub at the Beverly Hilton Hotel. That same night, Clive Davis held his annual pre-Grammy party. He did not cancel it. The manufactured image of Whitney Houston, the one the industry spent 20 years building and protecting, outlasted the woman who was asked to perform it. She carried that lie in public long after it stopped protecting her. She performed perfection until she couldn't anymore. That is the biggest lie ever told in R&B. Not the checks, not the contracts, not the forged documents. The most dangerous lie was the one that looked straight into the camera and said, "She's fine. Everything is fine. Tell them you're fine." And she did. And I